Hello, friends, and welcome back to Information and Inspiration for Your Wellness Journey. If you haven't had a chance to view my previous video on mindfulness, I'm going to insist that you stop where you are and go back and view that video, because the information that I'm going to be presenting today in this one it builds on what I shared in the previous video. Hopefully, you've had a full week practicing mindfulness meditation, and you're beginning to become aware of your thoughts and identifying and letting go of negative thoughts, and you're beginning to understand the potential power that is inherent in this practice. This practice of mindfulness is the first step on your journey to be well, and I cannot emphasize enough, and I can't overemphasize the critical importance of mindfulness as your foundation for wellness. There are so many potential benefits, and don't take my word for it. Do the research. Science is on our side. Mindfulness can result in measurable changes in the regions of your brain that are associated with memory, sense of self, empathy, and stress. So these are outstanding potential benefits that will attend to you as you stick to and persevere on the practice of mindfulness. Now, today we're going to build on that practice as we dive into self-love. And let's be clear, self-love is as far from narcissism as the East is from the West. We're not talking about narcissism when we talk about self-love. In fact, the book of Matthew in the Bible, Jesus says, a lawyer asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus, and I'm paraphrasing, Jesus said, love God with all your mind, your soul, and your strength. And then he said, the second most important is like that. And that second commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. So the second most important commandment, according to Jesus, actually implies and assumes love of self, or self-love. Now, love is indispensable on this journey to be well. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. God is love. On that note, I am the author of 2 books. The first is Anatomy of a Patient, and actually I'm the co-author on this book. This book is my co-author's medical memoir. Reginald Harvey had a life-threatening renal failure, and this book is about the medical journey that he endured as he fought back to heal himself, and not only heal himself, but to heal his life. Anatomy of a Patient. Now, my second book is Joy in the Morning. And it is Joy in the Morning. The title comes from the scripture that says, weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning. It is subtitled A Mother's Journey from Tragedy to Triumph. Now, both of these books are available on Amazon.com, and Joy in the Morning is also available as an audiobook. I wrote Joy in the Morning following a personal tragedy that took the life of my older son, Chris Lewis. And Chris was murdered with a friend in a random crime. He was home from his first year at Morehouse College, and he had graduated a year earlier from St. Mark's School of Texas here in Dallas. But following this experience, I founded MATV, Mothers Against Teen Violence, and we helped survivors of murdered children who we help them find with grief recovery, and we also created programs in schools, violence prevention programs in schools serving underserved children, and we became powerful advocates for drug policy reform, understanding the connection between the failed war on drugs and the connection between crime and illegal drugs. Our doors closed in 2015 after 2 decades of outstanding work. But the experience of losing a child in the way that I lost Chris is the genesis for my decades-long journey, my spiritual journey, and I continue to travel that journey today. And to be well is a very important part of my journey. I have learned and continue to learn because of my experience losing a child. I continue to learn about so much about love. In fact, there's a chapter on love in my book, Joy in the Morning. Of course, we use the word love very loosely. We say we love cars, we love this, we love that, we love our house, we love fashion, we love the latest electronics. But the love of which I speak here has very little to do with anything material. The scriptures say that God is love. As a child, I thought of God as an old, bearded white man in the clouds. And he was an angry God because he could zap you if you did something wrong. So angry, and there was fear in my mind associated with this God. And I'm embarrassed to say that, I carried this understanding of God with me into my adulthood. But when I lost Chris, a huge part of my work was to find a deeper understanding of God and the love that is of God. An old man in the clouds was just not going to cut it when I was experiencing with the kind of pain and grief I was experiencing. So today I know that God, the creator of the universe, the all-powerful force of the universe, this God is spirit. God is not human. God is not a man. We use the pronoun he as a matter of convenience. But God is not human. God doesn't have hands, arms, and legs like a human, And God doesn't live out there in the clouds. Well, let's say God is everywhere, so I suppose God is in the clouds. But the most important thing where God is, the most important place where God is in you. God is everywhere. God is in you. You and I are in God. We are one. This is critically important. And God's love, this love is unconditional. Now, I define love in my book, Joy in the Morning, as it's about seeking the highest good. So love of God implies love of self, and love of self implies love of God. And I never cease to be amazed at people who claim to love God and who seem to have no problem, misrepresenting the truth or, otherwise known as lying. Okay, that's my dog Bella there. Bella, please go sit. Go sit. Okay, people who claim to love God, but who, will misrepresent the truth and lie at the drop of a hat. People who claim to love God but will abuse children. Who claim to love God but are unethical in their business dealings. These are egregious contradictions, and contradictions dilute our power. They thwart our best laid plans. Contradictions can derail any hope of having joy and peace in your life, not to mention your road to wellness. So what we're going to do today is remembering that step one on the journey to be well, and that step I introduced mindfulness and meditation. So in step two, on this road to be well, we are going to explore the practice and the power of self-love. Now, why self-love? Well, without self-love, you're unlikely to find the motivation to rethink, much less change a habit that's not working for you. And of course, I've already said that to be well, this is about change. So self-love is going to be critical to give you the power to change. And even if you were to make a change, you wouldn't be able to or motivated to stick to it, because the ego would show up. And what does the ego say? Something negative and fearful. This doesn't matter. Why are you doing that? Who do you think you are? No, but love covers a multitude of habitual negative thoughts. So the person imbued with love, with self-love, will say with feeling, I think the best thoughts. I eat the healthiest food for my body. I want to experience the best size and weight for me. I am worthy. I deserve it. This is self-love. Now, so your homework this week, or really, not homework, how about love work? Your love work for this week is going to involve reinforcing your meditation practice with thoughts of self-love. So for the next 7 days, we're going to continue with our 2 daily meditations as we did last week. We're going to do those again. They're still going to last 10 minutes each. But this week, before you begin your meditation, each meditation, I want you to repeat the following 3 affirmations, and I want you to repeat them not once, not twice, but 3 times. Okay, and I want you to repeat them while you're sitting in or standing in front of a mirror, and focus on making eye contact, because I want you to hear the words, and I want you to look into your own eyes and believe these words. And these are the 3 statements. Number 1, the God of the universe loves me. There's no separation. We are one. Number 2, I love God. I love my neighbor. I love myself. Number 3, I am worthy of love. I am loving and I am lovable. So those 3 statements repeated 3 times before beginning your meditation. And then you're going to proceed with your meditation, just as we did last week. And you're going to do those cleansing breaths, and then you're going to do your 7-4-3-7 breaths. But this time, when you transition to normal breathing, this time, as you're breathing normally, I want you to concentrate on self-love. And on the in-breath, I want you to hear self. And on the out-breath, I want you to hear love. Self-love. 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 Again, being sure to breathe in through your nose. Now, don't forget to rate yourself at the end of each one of your meditation sessions. On a scale from 1 to 10, we're still using those 3 areas. The first is, how well did you concentrate on self-love this time? The second is, when your thoughts strayed, how often were they negative? How often were they positive? Accentuate the positive. How often were they positive? And the third area that you're going to rate is, how relaxed did you feel when you finished? Okay, that's it for today, and I'll see you back here next week as we continue our journey to be well. I'm Joy Strickland, your certified wellness coach. See you next time.